Earlier, I had a chat with Vice President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Asuguni Amechi, and Director General, Bolitax Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, Professor Bola Akiterewa, on the CFTA agreement and what it portends for Nigeria. The rest of the world has been hailing, this signing, this agreement as, a huge step for African countries. But it doesn't seem, not all African countries themselves seem to be on board with this treaty. Why do you think that is? What's pulling countries back from signing, especially the 10 countries that did not sign, apart from Nigeria and South Africa?
At the level of the many countries of the world that are hailing the agreement, one major rationale for that is that, look, it will be the first of its kind in the world. It will be the biggest, group of market economy countries. You have more than 1 billion, people involved. You look at the GDP, the volume of investments, the mere fact that the barriers, to intra-African trade will be removed. They've been looking at it from this perspective. Particularly, if you look at the fact that now they will now have one single market to which they can export their manufactured goods. So instead of having to go through the hassles of the laws, the trade laws of 54 countries, now this time it's now just one bus stop in dealing with all this. So from that perspective, it is easier for them, it is more cost effective, and at the end of the day, in terms of influence politics, it is on their side.
Is it a good deal for African countries?
It's a good deal if defined, and if truly is going to be African deal. For me, as a country, I vote for it, because that is where Nigeria will indeed muzzle its strength to show if indeed we are leading Africa. Because without that, nothing will compare us to even know the capacity, the competitive advantage we have in Africa. So we must know which product we have absolute advantage over other countries. So if we cannot drive in Africa, then there is a threat to the growth of this economy.
Yeah, a threat, so understandably, but there's something he mentioned about the back door that other countries may be exploiting. Do you think that this deal nullifies all of that and helps everybody to be on the same page?
You see, let us first of all agree on one point, that signing, when to sign and when not to sign, is a matter of strategy in international relations. Let me refresh your mind. In the 1960s, particularly from the period of 1963 through 1966, Nigeria made strenuous efforts to become a member, that is an associate member, of the then European Economic Community. Now, Dr. Pius Okibo was then negotiating for us. He was Nigeria's ambassador in Brussels. Now, what happened was that France took active part, like Nigeria did take active part in all the negotiations of this CFTA. France took active part in it. Now, when it came to the time of signing the agreement, and it was to be done in Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos was then the capital of Nigeria. The French government also sent a powerful plenipotentiary to come. But when the ambassador of France arrived, he never said any word. When it came to signing, he didn't sign. Whereas the constitution of the EEC required unanimity, consensus of opinion. All the members must sign. All countries signed except France, and that necessarily neutralized, nullified, the agreement. That was how Nigeria couldn't become an associate member. All right. And Nigeria now had to negotiate a different agreement entirely with the EEC. The relevance of that one to this is that when Mr. President tells us that, look, we are looking at this, we will sign, we want to consult. Mm-hmm. What he's trying to say is that even though we might have taken an active part, all right, in the negotiations, there are some issues that still require clarifications. And this was in light of the meeting held by even the labor union, of which you are part. Many stakeholders, like Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, they had a meeting last week, Thursday, in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And they also got in touch directly with the presidency. Now, pinpointing, articulating the possible implications of some of the provisions, since they now had access to it. Document. And as any good president will do, and I think we should commend in this particular case, Mr. President. Mr. President's government had been part and parcel of the negotiations. But now when he was told that, look, this may be detrimental to our interests in the long run, he decided immediately to say, okay, look, I will look into the complaints. And for this, the advanced party, Nigeria's advanced party, was already on ground, which means a president that listens, at least for once, should be commended. And that's the way we must look at it, to say we are likely to sign in the future for as long as the irritants, all the issues, all the provisions that are not conducive, that will not be in our interest, we put them apart.
Mr. Meche, this document had been, let's just say it had been in the hands of people who should have it for a really long time. They had enough time to study the document. I mean, a document that had been drafted since 2012. There was enough time to have gone through it. Each country had a copy of it, and they were supposed to have invited all the stakeholders, Labour inclusive. What's the main concern here for Labour in this CFTA?
I think the concern of Labour regarding this issue is, what would have been first is coming last. The stakeholders meeting is now what we advocate. As a matter of fact, NSC former position is to wait until the outcome of the stakeholders meeting, because, like Prof said, some of the implications have been actually listed by many groups. But for me, and I will continue to advocate that Nigeria certainly should be proactive in their actions, because if up till now is when we are getting advice about the implication of an agreement that eventually we may sign. To other countries, look as if the technical team of Nigeria, they are not active, because they ought to have told President the disadvantage and advantage of the said agreement. So coming on the eve of signing to decline, to other people, they may not know what you truly what you are reflecting. And that also, as a nation, we must try to drive truth in our character. So for me, I will continue to say that in as much we must promote a defined Nigeria, we should be able to advocate for proactiveness.
Let's take a quick break now. Our conversation continues shortly.